Welcome back to a special edition of Tucker Carlson Tonight. Over the past 2 decades, American taxpayers shelled out nearly $90 billion for military equipment for the Afghan army. That included everything from an entire Air Force, Black Hawk helicopters, fixed-wing aircraft, hundreds of thousands of battle rifles, trucks, armored vehicles. Now, the Taliban has a lot of that equipment. It's one of the best armed militaries of its size in the world, the Taliban. Victor Davis Hanson is a fellow at the Hoover Institution. We're honored to have him with us tonight. Professor, thank you very much for coming. So the Taliban, after 20 years, is more legitimate in the eyes of the so-called international community and very heavily armed, much better than it was in 2001. How do you assess this development?
I think we're underestimating it, Tucker. If you look at all the military aid that we've given Israel since the founding of the Jewish state, this is about 85% of that over a 70-year period. We're all worried about the aircraft carrier Gerald Ford, $12 billion, the most expensive aircraft carrier in history. We could have had 7 of them for the price of money, for the price of weapons that we've left in Afghanistan. We talk about Abrams tanks. The weapon depot that we left in Afghanistan has an equivalent worth of 3 times of all the Abrams tanks that we've ever deployed, we've ever had in the Army. And then finally, we're all upset about the F-35 fighter, the $90 million boondoggle, some people think it is. We could have had 1,000 of those for the amount of equipment we left in Afghanistan. So this is the greatest loss of military equipment in the history of warfare by one power. It's absolutely staggering, and yet we take it so nonchalantly. The people responsible for this should be either fired or resign. They've done so much damage to the United States, and they've empowered a pre-civilizational terrorist band into making them into a considerable, militia that will cause havoc for the next 20 years. And I think it's just atrocious, and nobody's taking any blame for it. This is well aside from the 7,000 scanners they left that they are now using to find out who helped us. This is beyond the list of names of people who wanted to get out that the Taliban have. And the final thing, Tucker, is we were told by a top-ranking general again and again that the Taliban and we had the same agenda. We wanted out quickly by the 31st. They did, so we could trust them. We were working together. But we didn't have an agenda that was anywhere near theirs, because their agenda was, we want you out on the 31st, but we want to cause as much humiliation, death, and destruction as we can get away with so you don't come back, and we wanted none of that. So there's something terribly wrong with our military. I don't know whether it's their distraction because of wokeness as they go through the ranks and the rosters trying to weed out potential, supremacists, or they're just incompetent, or they're too worried about the revolving door going in and out from defense contractor boards. But we need a bipartisan investigation of our top brass and the system. It's a systemic failure, and it's costing us dearly.
Possible the Anglosphere is committing mass suicide. That's another explanation, because you're seeing it all over the world from English-speaking countries, and that's really beyond belief. Victor Davis Hanson, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.